Good morning, everybody. I am Ginny Schuster with Ginnypreneur, and I'm just so excited to have you all here on my YouTube channel. I hope that you comment, I hope you like, and I hope you subscribe, because I'm telling you, this guy, Phil, is absolutely amazing. Not only is he a writer, I pulled out his book of Naked Thinking, which I read and we discussed in one of the prior interviews. I hope you go back and look at it. He's a speaker, because we talk about everything. But to narrow it down, what we decided to do is we want to get this country back to getting more entrepreneurs. Because when you have a purpose, your whole world opens up. So, Phil, being a behavior cognitive therapist, and of course I say it backwards, we're going to talk about businesses and entrepreneurs. The question that I want to talk about today is, what are the kind of things that people are going to face when they get into their own business? And that could be scary. Sometimes you start out by yourself and you're not quite sure. But Phil always has some interesting things to think of.
It's an interesting question that you pose. I have talked to a lot of entrepreneurs that don't think of themselves as such. They think of themselves as professional people. Doctors. You don't think of a doctor as an entrepreneur. But if you own your own practice, you are. You would be surprised if they don't think of themselves that way. So what they do is they try to offload some of the nuts and bolts of being in business for yourself to other people. So they have office managers and stuff like that. I've known old country doctors whose offices were in old houses, and they just converted it over into an office, believe it or not. And they ran it all. They did it all themselves. And that if you're going to go into business for yourself, and it's just a one you guy, and it's just solo kind of a thing, leadership is going to be critical. However, if you're going to be dealing with employees, the responsibility is yours to make them successful. It's not like, okay, I'm going to hire you. Now it's your job to be successful. No, it's my job to make sure you are. And that means I need to understand what it is you can do, what it is that you currently cannot do, and I can help you to be able to do what's important in the future, how to develop your skill set so that you can do more and better in the future, how to be willing to use motivational tools to keep you on track for improvement. And because what tends to happen for a lot of employees is they become very, very good really early on, and then they kind of slack off because they get comfortable and they're not doing everything they're supposed to do, and they seem to get by not doing it, and nobody says anything about it. This idea of being more than a manager, but being a leader. What I see is in leadership, one of the most important things is that you are willing to do what it takes to be the leader. For many years, I was asking audiences what they considered to be the characteristics or traits or behavioral things that qualify somebody in their world as being a great leader in their own personal world. And number one was that they were willing to take up the task of being a leader. That seems to be the number one thing that makes a leader. What's the difference between a singer and a non-singer? And the answer is singers sing. We all have a voice. We can all sing, some better than others. Singers sing. Non-singers don't sing. Real leaders is not about what your position is titled. And if you're going to own a business and hire people who are going to look to you for their future paycheck and maybe their career path, then you have to step into the role of leadership as well. And that means part of being a leader is to develop the followers. And if your employees are there saying, okay, what do I do now? And say, well, let's talk about what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, we're not talking about doing, we're talking about accomplishing. And the doing is what we are required to happen, is required to happen in order for the accomplishment to occur. So then let's talk about the accomplishment, and then that'll tell us what we need to be doing. If you want your followership to individually grow, I'm talking about that person.
Yeah.
Then you've heard the idea of leading by example. But if I were to say, yeah, I'm taking courses too, I'm doing things too, I'm learning something new, I'm trying something different, then what you're doing is you're giving them the impression that you value the idea of learning more and doing more. Things change. Technologies change.
Oh, yeah.
The information base that we start with and move through is different every day. What exactly is it that I'm working with today that might not be as useful to me tomorrow? And what is it that I don't even know about today that might be even more useful than what I know today in the future? And you can't know that. So what you do is you pursue avenues that allow that to accidentally wind up being in front of you.
Well, Bill, that's an interesting concept that you bring up, because a lot of times my upbringing was to figure it out myself, do it, go the road alone and just figure it out. And all I have to do is ask, but I was always afraid of asking that dumb question.
The idea of asking questions, there's an old axiom that goes, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Oh, they always say that, right?
Yeah, but you know what? That's just not so. Some of them are pretty freaking stupid. Yeah. And that's okay. Here's the thing. If you say, this might be a stupid question, if you're saying this to yourself, it's a stupid question, maybe, I don't know. And I'm going to look stupid by asking it. And maybe that'll be true. But my response to that, so what? What difference does that make? You're trying to move forward. And if somebody else has an opinion of you, oh, what an idiot. It's like, okay, but I'm less of one now because I have an answer to a question I didn't know the answer to. And if that helps you to become better at something, what you do is you stand up to your, now this is not standing up to them. This is standing up to this. This is saying, my own image of myself is being challenged. I don't want to look stupid to whom? I don't want to look stupid to them, because then I would look stupid to me through their eyes. And I may have given you my definition of courage in the past, but I'll do it again. To me, courage is the ability to stand up to any strong emotion and still do the right thing anyway. So if it's fear, if it's embarrassment, so whatever the strong emotion is, whatever it is, negative, positive, whatever you want to call it, if it interferes with what happens next, or it colors what you're thinking, then it takes something to stand up to that and say, let me give that some thought, or I'm going to ask this question, even if somebody might think I'm an idiot for asking it, because I know this, if I walk away and I don't know the answer to it, I'm going to think I was an idiot for not asking it, because I want to know the answer to that. We're talking primarily here about entrepreneur, meaning that they own that business, but even entrepreneurs hire people to manage the business too. But the thing is, when a person steps into that role, whether it's a manager, a supervisor, or the owner acting as a manager or supervisor, a leader of some sort, what it is that sometimes they will do is they will feel inadequate. They will feel less than the person that they're telling what to do. It's like, who am I to tell that person what to do? Now, they might not say it out loud, but some piece of them is thinking, this is a very accomplished person. He's working for me because he's good at what he does. And here it is, I'm telling him stuff. And it's like, so they're reluctant to do it. And this is where we had talked before about the idea that one of the greater leadership qualities is the willingness to lead. So for a leader to really be good at what they do, those things that person needs from me are required from me if I want to consider myself to be a leader. And if I want a successful entrepreneurial endeavor, part of that is going to be to make sure that I get the best out of the people who look to me for that leadership. That means I have to be willing. This is the courageous part of it. Courage is standing up to the emotion that would stop you. I'm talking about the ability to stand up to these strong emotions, the idea of a person who might express it as being a form of imposter syndrome. It's like everybody that's working around me knows more than I do about everything. But you had the money to start all of this, and without you, oh, not only that, you had the gall, the gumption, the audacity to put it at risk and start this thing because you had a vision and you had a dream. Well, so it's not about what I know. It's about what I do with what I know, and this entire big picture that you have that I didn't have, that puts you in charge and me following. So
Right.
you say you stood up to the microphone and started singing today. And so it's like, okay, I might sing better than you, but you're doing it. And sometimes what you might do is say, you know what, you sing better than I do. So I'm going to step away and let you do it the solo. Because that's what it takes sometimes to do that too. And to have the courage of saying, you know, there might be some areas of my leadership role that are better done by somebody else. It's about the outcome. It's about the accomplishment. It's about the why are we here, the mission.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, so let's look at it for the entrepreneur, the person who wants to get into their own business.
Mm-hmm.
And the question then is, because there is risk there, how do people take the next step to be the best leader, the best boss? So what is the best route? People are going to ask that question.
If you're asking, how do you put all of that together to start your business? What do you need to do? And how do you make yourself do certain things? One of the things that you said was, how do you take all your vision and all that kind of stuff and then move forward? There are a couple of things. Number one is, I don't give advice, but I would say this as an axiom: never fall in love with an idea. One of the great roads to failure is the idea of falling in love with an idea that won't pay. But then the other one is, how do you live with decisions? How do you say, what if I fail? I think having a good decision-making process is a very important thing to start with, so that you can go down the checklist of things if you want to do that. So you see, obviously, enjoying your work and other aspects of it have a higher weight than the money. So at some particular point, you want to know that you've covered your bases. So you look at what needs to be in my decision matrix. What criteria do I use in order for me to properly weight them? That is a very important thing. And I'll tell you what, if you go through that and you have a solid way of making a decision that when you walk away, you can say, it fits, it seems right, everything points that this is the best direction. So when I make the decision to actually execute and it goes well, I can take pride in it went well. And if it goes afoul, I can take pride in having made a good decision and having the courage to execute it, to test it. You don't have to do this all on your own. Fortunately, we have thousands of years of people making mistakes and successes along the way. And a lot of people have put a lot of stuff together that it's not just in the last 100 years, by the way. I mean, this has been going on forever.
Love all this interaction, Phil. This has been fabulous. Thank you. And I hope that everybody likes and comments and subscribe so that they can hear our next question to help entrepreneurs and get this country back into having many more entrepreneurs and small business owners. So thank you for today.
You're welcome. And if anybody wants to hear more about what it is I might be able to help them with, it's phildagostino.net. And they can come there, or they can drop me a note, and I'll be very glad to talk to them.
And comment below if you didn't get that, and I will be happy to get back to you.
Okay. All right, Jenny. Thank you too.